Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The Australian heavyweight Demsey McKean has had his opponent confirmed for Matchroom'S first show in Australia, October 15. He will be facing Germany's Patrick Korte. And I think many people will be wondering, who? Who is Patrick Korte? Because he is a lightly regarded heavyweight and he has a deceptively good looking record, but once you scratch the surface, it falls to pieces, dross all over the show. So one of the things that I'll discuss a little bit later in this video is what is the plan for Demsey McKean, because so far he's been fed a diet of very average heavyweights to face. So I guess it's one of two things could be the option for McKeen. But first off, so this fight, so this is on this Matchroom card, which Eddie Hearn is praising, all this sort of stuff. I mean, it's not great. Patrick Korte 18-1-1. So actually that's Demsey McKean's record. So you have Patrick Korte 18-1-1, and I'm sure this might be the first time for most heavyweight boxing fans that they've seen the world number 172 in action, who is regarded on BoxRec at least as the 15th best heavyweight in Germany. 38 years old, 6'3", and the record wafer thin. So coming off a majority draw against the journeyman, which is obviously a bad omen to begin, and previously he has lost to Andre Mazanak, stopped in 2 rounds back in 2018. But the rest of the record, basically he's been facing journeymen all over the shop and inexperienced heavyweights. So I like to call these sorts of records where you just dig into it and go, there's nothing there. I mean, these guys, like a Patrick Korte, he's a journeyman in waiting. The record looks good now, but in a couple of years, once he's sold off any sort of credibility that he has, he'll probably have 6 to 10 losses on the record. Demsey McKean, meanwhile, so he's currently 21-0. He's regarded as the number 2 heavyweight in Australia, and that's behind Justice Hooney, I believe. Actually, I'll double check that. Pretty sure it is Justice Hooney. Yes, it is Hooney. So he's coming off a win over journeyman Ariel Esteban Bracamonte, that was earlier in 2022, and then he had a very soft touch in Don Hainsworth. That was his first fight on this Matchroom deal that he's got, and now for this third fight, another soft lob in Patrick Korte. So the matchmaking, very modest here, and it appears that this looks like it's a showcase fight for Demsey McKean, who on social media says October 15 we go to work again. Tickets will be on sale this week, yada yada yada. So I'm not loving this fight because Demsey McKean has fought at a better level previously than what he's being served up by Matchroom. And you can just go to the record. A couple of years ago, he fought Jonathan Rice, and that was a very competitive fight. Ultimately, he ended up stopping Rice in the final round, and Rice has since gone on to have 2 really good wins over Michael Polite Coffey. He had a very competitive fight with Kikito Litelli, the New Zealand heavyweight, who would have beaten, I think, Don Hainsworth, Ariel Bracamonte, and also Patrick Korte. So the level of opposition has actually been trending down. And why is that? Well, he's on this deal with Matchroom. They've clearly got some plans for him to be fighting in Australia. They gave him a couple of reasonably softish lobs first up in the UK, build his profile a little bit, obviously get him known to the UK audience, and you've seen a number of other Australian fighters, some female fighters as well, who've had that same sort of treatment. They've been showcased in the UK, and obviously they want people in the UK to be watching these Australian shows and sort of have a decent sort of audience and have some of these Australians actually known to a broader audience. But Patrick Korte, this is not a good fight. On the face of it, more safe matchmaking, seemingly going to be a showcase fight, and he should get the win, probably a stoppage. And let's face it, if he's going to help build his name and grow his profile, he probably needs to stop Korte here, who seemingly, based on looking at his record and previously stopped before, probably is there for the taking. At the very least, this would be a comfortable win. McKeen would canter to a points decision. But what is happening next for McKeen? And that's the real question. I mean, you can kind of look at it one of two ways. Either They don't really sort of know what they've got, and maybe they're not terribly invested at this point, and they're just matching him modestly because, hey, we'll just get the most out of what's on this contract, and maybe we can cash him out at some point. Or is this building to something much bigger where they intend to have him, say, as an opponent for an Anthony Joshua? So it's kind of a question mark. What are they actually looking to do with him? Is he just going to be mid-card sort of fodder for the next few Australian shows, and it doesn't really matter who he's fighting, that they're just sort of padding out cards with bigger names sort of headlining the events? Or are they going to get him to some point like 25-0 or something like that, and they go, it's time to sort of hit the button and feed him to someone maybe like an Anthony Joshua or someone else that they think, actually, this is the time now. Australia has been talked about as a destination on the so-called world tour that Eddie Hearn would like to take Anthony Joshua on at some point in the next year or two. McKeen's basically the only option that they've really got that's within the stable at the moment. Maybe they're just going to save him for something like that. Maybe McKeen will be one of these comeback opponents that Hearn is starting to discuss for Anthony Joshua. Obviously also a southpaw. Does Joshua want to go straight in to face another southpaw? But also, if they are going to have a fight-specific sort of location like Australia, McKeen fits the bill to actually have a fight and have it with a local. But don't like this fight. Not really sure where they're taking him and what really the plan is, because it seems a little bit haphazard. He's fought far better competition before. They've dropped him down, and now they've got him against what is a no mark. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.